Hey y'all, Pastor James here with the next installment of our daily Bible study on the book of Genesis. Today we're going to dive into chapter 4, but before we do, just a quick recap. In chapter 3, we see Adam and Eve living in the Garden of Eden. They eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which is exactly the one thing God told them not to do. And all of a sudden they're ashamed. They get cursed by God and get kicked out of the garden. So now they're on their own. But here we see the next generation as we move on. They're no longer the brand new beings that they were. They've been kicked out of the garden, have to fend for themselves. But now they've had children and are propagating on the earth and being fruitful and multiplying just like God told Adam to do originally. So, Genesis chapter 4 follows the consequences of the fall right into the next generation. It contrasts two brothers, Cain and Abel, and reveals the deepening effects of sin on human relationships and worship. This chapter represents the first murder in Scripture and highlights both God's justice and His mercy. It also traces the development of human society in a post-Eden world. So let's go into chapter 4 and dive into that. Now Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have acquired a man from the Lord. Then she bore again, this time his brother Abel. Now Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to the Lord. Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. And the Lord respected Abel and his offering, but he did not respect Cain and his offering, and Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell. So the Lord said to Cain, Why are you angry, and why has your countenance fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin lies at the door, and its desire is for you, but you should rule over it. Now Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, Where is Abel your brother? He said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. So now you are cursed from the earth, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you till the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. A fugitive and a vagabond you shall be on the earth. And Cain said to the Lord, My punishment is greater than I can bear. Surely you have driven me out this day from the face of the ground. I shall be hidden from your face. I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond on the earth, and it will happen that anyone who finds me will kill me. And the Lord said to him, Therefore, whoever kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark on Cain, lest anyone finding him should kill him. Then Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. And he built a city, and called the name of the city after the name of his son, Enoch. To Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begot Mehujael, and Mehujael begot Methushael, and Methushael begot Lamech. Then Lamech took for himself two wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the second was Zillah. And Ada bore Jabal. He was the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock. His brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all those who play the harp and flute. And as for Zillah, she also bore Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every craftsman in bronze and iron, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. Then Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. Wives of Lamech, listen to my speech. For I have killed a man for wounding me, even a young man for hurting me. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, then Lamech 77-fold. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and named him Seth. For God has appointed another seed for me instead of Abel, whom Cain killed. And as for Seth, to him also a son was born, and he named him Enosh. Then men began to call on the name of the Lord. And that is the reading of chapter 4. Now, of course, we have several key themes here. The first one being worship and offering. Cain and Abel bring offerings to the Lord, but only Abel's is accepted. Abel offers the firstborn of his flock, indicating faith and devotion. Cain's offering lacks such description, suggesting a problem of the heart. The second key theme is the nature of sin. God warns Cain that sin is crouching at the door, desiring to control him, but that he must master it. This personification of sin highlights its aggressive, predatory nature and the need for human responsibility and resistance. And our third key theme is murder and divine confrontation. Cain kills Abel while they're both out working in the field, becoming the first murderer in the history of the world, and demonstrating how quickly sin escalates after the fall. God confronts Cain, asking where Abel is, paralleling his question to Adam in Genesis 3, again prompting accountability. Our fourth key theme is judgment and mercy. Cain is cursed from the ground and becomes a wanderer, yet God protects him by placing a mark on him to prevent others from killing him. This blend of judgment and mercy reflects God's ongoing involvement in a broken world. Our fifth key theme is the spread of civilization. Cain's descendants build cities and develop various aspects of culture, livestock, music, metalwork, showing human creativity even outside of Eden. The line of Cain includes Lamech, who boasts of killing and takes multiple wives, highlighting the intensification of violence and moral decay. And then the last key theme we have in this chapter is hope through Seth. Adam and Eve have another son, Seth, and through him the godly line continues. The chapter ends with the note that people began to call upon the name of the Lord, showing a renewed turn toward worship and dependence on God. Now, one question that comes up often: where did Cain find a wife? Now, we know that God created Adam. He later created Eve from Adam to give him a partner. And Eve later bore two children, Cain and Abel, both male. But after Cain killed Abel and he became a wanderer and he later found a wife, where did he find a wife? He probably didn't have to go very far, because at that point the only people on earth were Adam and Eve and their children. So in order to get married and have a wife, he would have had to marry one of his own sisters. That's the only way that it could have happened, because they were the only people on the earth at the time. So they did that, went off, wandered to another place, and then we see the genealogy of Cain and the people that came from him, and the fact that those same people start working in not only livestock but also music and metalwork as they start spreading out and learning how to do new things. But later, Eve gives birth to Seth, and Seth is the one through which the godly line continues, and things start to go right again, and his line shows a renewed turn toward worship and dependence on God, which is what God wanted in the first place. So that is our lesson on chapter 4, which concentrates on Cain and Abel and what happened with them. I hope you liked it. And if you did, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already, so you can continue with these lessons. You can go back and see former lessons that I've done, as well as what I'll put out there in the future as far as my sermons and some of my singing. So hopefully you liked it. and pray that you will keep coming back. Pray that you have good things going on in your life and that you are getting all the blessings that you receive or that you deserve. And until we see each other again, God bless. Take care.